I was in Jakarta a few days ago showing the same presentation. I actually ran out of time with the last presentation, so I want to make sure that I show you everything, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the main new features of version 21. So rather than show you every little feature, which I'll try and fit as much as I can in, what I'll do is I'll concentrate on the ones that are most important to you guys, especially in steel. So I may jump around a little bit here. I'm going to play a video we've got. Oh, actually, just before I start, while I was rehearsing all of these new features, I actually made a video of each one myself. And you're welcome to take a copy of these as well. They're not narrated, but they do show. So every new feature in Tekla, for example, helicopter, staircase, something like that, I actually recorded it. So when I was rehearsing it myself, I recorded it, so you can have a copy of these. So rather say if you need something to refer to, then they're available there for you as well. So please take a copy of these. The ones I made, and if you go on, it shows you the results of what these new commands do. So every command I'm going to show you, there's a backup video. And by the way, nobody else on earth has these videos, so you're the first to have them. Okay, I'll start with the video first of all. I'm not going to plug the speaker in. It doesn't work. It's okay.
In construction, you would never alone. You build
Can you hear that okay?
An architect or a plant designer, and others will build upon what you do.
Can you hear that?
Tekla Structures 21, collaboration becomes easy.
No?
Reference model handling is improved, and you can detect, manage, and react to changes in IFC files. Joining industrial construction.
I'll start from the beginning. Okay, it's our introduction video, but it's worth taking a copy of as well.
In construction, you are never alone. You build upon the work of an architect or a plant designer, and others will build upon what you do. With Tekla Structures 21, collaboration becomes easier. Reference model handling is improved, and you can detect, manage, and react to changes in IFC files. Joining industrial construction projects is now smoother, and linking with Integraph's Smart 3D improves model information transfer, as does linking with Aviga PDMS. Modelling has got simpler and more intuitive. Direct modification means that when you draw construction lines, circles and points, or place custom parts, what you see is what you get. From design to fabrication and the site, projects always face changes. So, IFC change management and control have been enhanced, and when you export IFC files, they keep their colours. When the engineer changes the model, the detailer knows exactly what to change. When delivering drawings, such as those for precast elements, now printing is easier, faster and simpler with the new printing dialog. Now welds and weld marks and drawings support customization to suit your specific requirements. Also, weld paths can be shown. For successful construction on site, you have to know your volumes and materials. The improved organiser brings you detailed object-based material data and quantity take-off. It's effective and visual. You will know how much concrete you need to pour. It's now easier to model those and modify pour breaks. And as pour information is inherited automatically, you won't lose data. And that's not all. You should also know about Tekla model sharing and Tekla Warehouse. Why not visit us at teklastructures.com.
Okay, so that's just a quick snapshot or a quick run over of some of the features. For steel, there's much more than that. So, as I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to concentrate on the main things that are important for you guys in steel. Okay. Here's the PowerPoint, which again you can have a copy of. The new things in here, which have already briefly been touched upon, is, and I'm going to come back to that now. First thing I'm going to look at is the model sharing. Okay, I'll give you a video which I made with my colleagues showing you how that works. If I'm online, I'll show you the Tekla Warehouse as well. Yeah, very good. And let me move that way. Again, we're going to look at that direct modification. If you've ever used that before, we continue to improve that, but I'll show you from the beginning what that means. Clip planes That's a really good new feature. When you actually create a clip plane now, you can actually snap to the edges of a clip plane, which has been something that's been requested a long, long time. So I'll show you how that works as well. Numbering now includes welds and studs. So if your parts are identical, got different welds, then it will be marked differently. Different things on drawings and reports, and there's quite a lot in interoperability, which I'm going into. The extensions, a lot of new extensions, which are always good, and there's some really nice ones, so I'll go through as many of those as I can. That's okay. I need to jump back and forwards, actually. Okay, so as I explained, I've created a lot of videos. So each of the new features, I've created a video which you can refer to, and actually look at what I'm going to do again. You can just refer back to that. So they're quite nice to be able to use these. Okay, I'm going to start first of all with model sharing. Now, the model sharing is a new service which we released. It's actually been requested by a lot of users. Okay, multi-user is okay within an organisation. We do have some people that use it over the network, over a VPN, but it's not very stable. It's not designed. It's only designed to be within a company on a LAN. Okay, the model sharing means you can work in an office remotely. So this was done live. I was in Jakarta. My friend was in the UK. And what we did was I created the model. I uploaded it to the cloud. That's where it's stored, in the cloud. Then, as we make changes, it's always updated to the model. So the model doesn't, well, it does exist here, but you have a local copy of the model, and when you make changes, it updates it to like the shared model on the cloud. Now, what happens with multi-user is there's a model on the server, and when you open the model, it opens it into memory. So you don't have a local copy, it's only in memory. You pass that backwards and forwards. It's similar, but what you're doing is you've got a local copy, and it copies the data up to this cloud service here. How does that actually look in real life? I did this 2 days ago. This was with my colleague in the UK. So we just find it. Where are we? Model sharing, there we are. So it's model sharing video, and I'll talk through this and explain what it is. Okay, so Simon was in the UK. I was in Jakarta, in a hotel room, by the way, just on a rubbishy internet connection. My friend's online, look, we're just using MSN. And I created a new model. So he was just waiting for me. I just created a simple new model. Nothing big. Typical stuff. A couple of beams, a couple of columns. Put those in there. Put some connections on it. I didn't edit this too much. It was all real life, as you can see. So I dropped a base plate on these. There we are. Like so. There we are. And then what I did was, I saved that, and then I shared it onto the cloud. So what you said, click on this button here, it installs that, and it says, okay, I'm creating the model, what's the code, which is just the number, the revision number, what's the description, and who are you going to share it with? In this case, I shared it by email address, and it automatically sends an email to my colleague, and it says what kind of user is he. So you've got editor, owner, viewer, different levels. So when we start that, it actually sends an email to my colleague in the UK and says, a model's available, do you want to upgrade? And those models then now, those changes are uploaded to the cloud. And it says, look, these two, I'm the owner, he's just an editor. And you can keep changing permissions though. So might be something important as well. Okay, so I went here, I told him, I sent you an email. Can you please make some changes? And I'm going to continue to work on the model in Jakarta. Real life typing. You'll see all my typing mistakes as well, by the way. So if you make the changes required. There we go. I just wanted to, enforce that it was actually used in the UK. Okay, and I'm going to continue to work on that model. So if there's typing mistakes. So I'm glad you beans. Okay, so then I continue to work. So it doesn't stop me working. This copy of this model is on my PC. He's actually now got a copy on his PC. So we'll continue to work on this. Again, stick some connections on there. like so. And then again, you can see there he's saying, send me what you have, which I have. I've just emailed him. I'm just saying, look, I emailed you. It came through. Like that. And then what I did with this one is I said, look, I'm actually going to update the model now with the changes I've made. So I'm going to say, look, actually upload it. So take that data and pass that updated data to the cloud. So I can continue to work and upload it. Each time it does this, it's writing to the cloud. Okay, then Simon tells me after this, okay, and the second time I passed it up, I gave it another code, which was 003, and I could put some comments, beans added. And it makes a report as well, telling you what each person has done at each level. So it's reported all the way through. Okay, so just save that on the local copy. And then Simon Look says, he's uploaded some additions, and I'm going to read them in. In this case now, I'll say, okay, get the latest ones, read in. So it reads the data from the cloud. So any other changes that anyone's made now is read in, and then it will revise it and tell me who's done what at what date. So you can see here, look, it says modified objects, who it was done by, the name, what's added, and you can see then the changes that Simon's made, which are colour-coded. Yellow is modified, green is new, etc. So you can see the objects like that. So that's Simon changes brought into the model. And then again, I can continue to work on that, and that's how it works. So it's pretty much just like multi-user, except you can set the level of ownership and who can do what. There's a full report as well that says who works on what piece, at what date, who made what changes. So there's a full revision report as well with it. Okay? So it's actually extremely straightforward. Yeah? Please.
So how about the drawing? How about having test on the drawing?
Yeah, just the drawings. If I create a drawing, edit it, it uploads it, yeah.
And he can do another drawing.
Yeah, absolutely. If there's any conflicts, if we both work on the same model at the same time, it says, you both worked on the same piece, which one is correct? Yeah, just like multi-user, okay? So it is, and it's extremely well tested. This is not, you know, we've been working on this for a long, long time. It's, you know, it has to be robust and reliable. We can't send something out there where people are going to be sharing models and it messes up, and we just can't afford to do that, so we've done it the correct way. Okay, and do you know what? Do you mind just, thank you. I'll just move my laptop out so I could sit down and face you guys. Here we are. Right, let's take a look at some more new features then. Now it's going to get complicated because I have to sit down and do the same thing at the same time. Thank you. Okay, so I can talk to it, that's good. Right, so, thank you. So let's take a look first of all then. So we take a look at the clipping planes. If I go to here and say let's create a clip plane, I want to work up, let's say, the slope of this rafter like so. When you create the clip planes now, like this, you can snap to it. So if you snap to these pieces, you can see then. So you can snap, and you get a grey snap. Clip planes were always really good, but they were pretty useless. You couldn't work to them. Now you can say, look, I want to draw a stiffener from there to there, down to there, to there. So you can put a stiffener at that point. And you can measure at that point as well. So the clip planes are really, really good, especially if you're working complex geometry. So you can work at the slope of there. So you can go into there, do anything you can snap, you can measure, you can do whatever. And again, look, got a video which backs that up, but this is a little bit more complex. Where I created a clip plane on here, dragged it in, and said I want to draw a stiffener at that point. So again, working from there perpendicular, again works really, really well. So the clip planes were always good, but really useless. It was only good for viewing. Now they're real life snap points. Okay so far? Yeah? It's a nice, easy thing to work. So I'm not just going to continue with that, so it's quite easy. And let me just remove that. Okay. The other thing which is I think is really, really interesting in Tekla 21, is the integration to SketchUp. Now, in SketchUp, let's find my SketchUp, where is it? Let's move things down, there we are, SketchUp. In SketchUp, you've got a warehouse, okay? And in that warehouse, you've got any object on Earth. So you can say, I want a guitar, I want a hopper, I want a toilet, I want a gas storage facility. So, you know, so if I say, here, look, I want a gas tank, well, one of them is probably give me one for someone's got different storage tanks. So all these different kinds of tanks in here. I'm doing the slide, by the way, so you've got this round building, there, look, or this multi-storage unit. So any object you can think of is available in the SketchUp warehouse. So for example, we can say, okay, I want this storage tank here, so we import it into the model, download that in, and it brings the model into SketchUp like so. Okay, what's the big deal about that? Well, what you can do then is you can then say, save that. Let's put that on desktop, and I'll call this one Make. You can then bring that into Tekla. So I'll call that Make. So for example, if I close that down now, thank you. On here, we're getting there eventually. Now, reference models are now as well. We've got this side pane which actually looks after the reference models as well. So I can say here now to add a model, and the model can be anything from SketchUp. So in this case, look, I've got the one called Hopper Oil Storage Tank, Dish, I've got the one called Mick, which is there. You can say, bring in, let's say, an oil storage tank, import it. It'll then bring that model into Tekla. So anything really in the world, so bring that in, just expand it. You can see that's the oil storage tanks. So we can say, okay, let's pick that up. And we'll say, move that from this edge here, put it into location. So you can bring any object in the world into a Tekla model. So if you're working on storage tanks, look, they're really, really highly detailed. So you can bring them in, and they can work around it with the Tekla model. So you can bring in their toilets, anything you want, anything possible. That's a reference object. Okay, there's also something else you can do. Okay, now a reference object, of course, really, it's a dumb model. Okay, you can put it in, you can do a clash detect to it. You can't really create a material list of it or anything like that. What else we can do is you can say, use the item command. With the item command, you can say, here, look, the actual shape, you can import in a SketchUp object, and it will convert it into a Tekla object. So you think you can actually look in the SketchUp warehouse and say, look, I want a door. And they can bring it into Tekla as a real item. So in this particular case here, look, I've done a few already. I said, look, I brought in a Louvre, I brought in a motor. So a Louvre being this object here, so I'll say OK to that. So a Louvre, we'll say I want a Louvre that goes from that point there to that point there. And that is an object then, from SketchUp, brought into Tekla. What's the difference between that and the reference object? The difference is, that's an object. I can cut around it, I can create a drawing of it. It doesn't break it down into its parts, it's one piece. But I could say to that now, okay, give me a drawing of that piece, and it will go and give me a drawing. So I get one Louvre drawing and one Louvre on a material list. Does that make sense? Do you understand that? Does it make sense, guys? Yeah? Yeah, sure. So this is the thing where you can go and bring in items. For example, if you say you've got like some motors, you want to pick, but you want to get, you want to know the quantity of motors. So you put them in as this, then you can get real quantities from them. So if I take a look, then we've got the actual list of drawings by parts. There it is. I've got to use the wrong one, obviously. Bring this into there. Look, get a drawing of it, like so. And it's called one Louvre required as drawn, like that. So it's a real nice bit. And you can cut around these as well. They're real objects, so you can actually put that there and cut around it, move it here, cut it. It's actually a Tekla object. So you're thinking, if you've got something like some metal deck, open mesh floor, you can bring that in as an object, and you can say, okay, 10 open mesh floor, that kind of thing. Again, another example of that. Look, if I say, look, I want to bring in a motor. So there's a motor there, we'll say OK to that, apply OK, go to here, a little motor. Simple like motor, and I can get a drawing and a quantity. So, if I go back to SketchUp, let me do that from the beginning. So let's think of an object then. Okay, so let's get rid of him. Go to the warehouse. What we're going to have, let's say I want to bring a door in as a Tekla object. So I'm going to say, okay, show me all the doors that's available. There's thousands of these, by the way. So if we go, look at that one, that's that one. This one here, look. So we can say, bring this door in. So bring it in, load it into SketchUp. Right, so that's the door, look, I'll just position it like that, yeah? And we'll say save that as, put it on the desktop. I've got to stop saving things on the desktop, I've got a million here. And we can say that is my door. Like so, my door. Save that. Close down SketchUp. Back into version 21. Go to my item. Go to shape. Say import that. So it's part of the Tekla library. Import it. Desktop. Call it my door. There we are. SketchUp. OK to that. Imports that. Hopefully if I've done it right. My door. There it is. Look. Then you say OK to that. Apply OK. And it goes from that point there to that point there. There you go. And that's that door. And I can now create a drawing of that and a material list. Yeah. No, it doesn't work that way. It brings it in, it's called an item. You can't explode it. It's one piece. You get one assembly drawing, one part drawing, and one material name. So you get the idea where you'd use it. Yeah? It's not meant to bypass any sort of Tekla modelling. You know, it is one object, you're unable to break it down. But again, look, you can go to that and say, I want a drawing of that. So click on that, go to here, single part, create drawing, it numbers it, because it knows it's a piece. So you number it, it's a real object. In SketchUp. In SketchUp first, yeah. And what I'm showing you here is free SketchUp, by the way. That's free. So that's the possibilities for that. So if you work in pressure vessels, you work in tanks, anything like that, this is really, really good stuff to work around. So there's two ways you can work to SketchUp. You can either say, just bring it as a reference object, or bring it in as an item. So which one is it? Standard, isn't it? This is, the scale of this is probably terrible, by the way, so bear with me. Just to show you this there. That took a lot of loading up. Obviously, I've done the drawing. But you see what there's the door looking on the side. Yeah? But yeah, I tell you, you think about it, the possibilities of that are actually quite fantastic. The potential for pipe work, all that kind of stuff. Bring it in and use it around there. Right, so that's the integration from SketchUp to Tekla. But you can go the other way. You can go from Tekla to SketchUp. Okay, why would you want to do that? I may have shown this last year, but I'll show it again anyway. So now we can say export that model. Close that down. We can say export the model as a SketchUp model. Thank you, by the way. We'll call this one, oh, I always call it MIG. I'll call it MIG again. Call everything MIG. And then we'll say, I just want to take out the parts. Okay? So we'll say create from all, every object. Create a SketchUp file. I've already got one called MIG, so I'm going to overwrite it. In fact, let me do this. Let's say I'm going to call this one Saigon. Just so you can see it's my own one. So say create from all, and it's going to create that SketchUp file. Okay? And by the way, you can take the welds and everything out of this. Right, let's take that out. Right, then what we can do is if you go to the model folder, is create a file called saigon.sketchup. There it is. Click on that, open it up. And from here, then you can pass it to multiple softwares. So you know, take it out to Revit, do whatever. But that's not why I've gone in here. So that's your SketchUp model, like so. What I can do now is I can say set the geographic location. So I can say, okay, that is at, I wish it was the same location as well. So if I put here Leeds, which is a city near me, city centre. I could put Saigon city centre, actually, with the same thing. So search for that, it finds that in Google Earth, or Google Maps actually, like so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put it, let's say here, because I've used this quite a number of times. Grab that, and what it does, it puts that model on a sort of flat earth like that. Okay? That's no big deal, but what you can then do is you can then say, look, preview in Google Earth, and it will take your Tekla model and put it into Google Earth in its exact location. Now, I've done this 1,000 times, so I've probably got loads of models in Leeds city centre, so just bear with me on this, but you can see then. Please try it. This is all free stuff I'm showing you, by the way. So the SketchUp's a free one, and the Google Earth, of course, is free. Zoom into the UK like so, you can see Leeds city centre, you can see some of the models I've already got there, look, like that. Yeah? And most of the world is actually mapped in 3. I'm really rubbish at navigating this, actually. So you can see, look, I'm really poor at navigating this. So let me just zoom in a little. There. So you can see then that, oh my God. So you can see, look, that's the model placed in Google Earth, like so. Yeah? Really quick, easy way of doing that. Discard it. Where are we? Geographic location, clear location, geographic location, add. So I've never done this actually, so let's try Saigon. Not all the world is mapped in 3D, but most of the cities and main areas are. So there's Saigon city centre, look. So select that, same thing, grab that. It's exactly the same thing, guys. So I'm not cheating in any way. Oh, look at that building site. That was good, wasn't it? That was absolutely pure coincidence, by the way. So there you go, that's the one. And again, it's the same thing, previewing Google Earth. And text outputs in that location. How useful that actually is, it's more just a bit of glamour really. But the main thing is the objects from SketchUp in as items. That will really kind of make things work brilliantly for you. There you go, you can see it there, look, it's bringing the rest of the, there look, thanks now. I swear I've never done that before, because what later, you can see that some of the buildings are in 3D, others are not. Yeah, there we go. I never got a chance to show that at the last meeting I did, because we're showing up little bits and pieces which are not too interesting. There we are. So this SketchUp in and out is really good. Just going back to the reference objects, now you no longer do a here insert reference object. They're all controlled through a single interface where everything's in here. So you can see, for example, I've got a 2D drawing on there already, so I can turn that on. And I've also got a massive building that came from Revit. So I filled this up. Look, so even, I'm not cheating, I want to show you big buildings. So you can see there, that's a big building from Revit. What this client did, he brought it in from Revit and converted it to Tekla object. You know you can convert a Revit object to Tekla, yeah? Do you know that? For example, this is a Revit building. I don't want to go through this, it takes a while. If you select that part of the building, you've got an option here which says convert objects to Tekla. And it will actually convert it to real Tekla beams. In that case, it will convert it into real beams. But within here, look, if you go to this, you can double click on it. Within that, then you can go to the layers. You can say, look, I want to turn certain layers off. So everything's controlled within one typical interface, like so. Just turn a couple off. So we always talk about interoperability, and for us in steel, a lot of the time it doesn't mean anything too much, but these features really do mean a lot for us in steel. Okay, so they're really nice features, especially the clipping plane. And by the way, the clipping plane as well, I've never tested this, but it should work as well with reference objects. So if I click through here, let's say to, that will do. So I should be able to click to that as well. Oof. You know, I've never tested that, so I'm glad it worked. So you could say, look, I want to draw an object from there to there to there as well, so drag it down, so drag them across. Where are we? Yeah. Maybe I need to just turn it on. Let's get this right. Here we go. Anyway, you can snap to those as well. Look, there it is. Like so. Okay, I've never actually tested that one, so that works all right. Very good. Close that one down. So that's what I've done there. Is I looked at model sharing first of all. Then I jumped back and I looked at all the different, some of the things here. And I'm glad I came back to that. There's something else I forgot about, actually. So that's your model to Google Earth. That's bringing you SketchUp import and export. And by the way, there's a video I made showing all these different things. So you can always look at the video and see how did you do that. You can check the video. So the other thing then is if we have laser scanning models. Has anyone come across laser scanning at all? I'll show you a quick video of this. Just laser scanning. Okay. I'm not too worried about the volume on this. Let me just do. What it does, it's like used for surveying existing buildings. What you do, rather than going and measuring, what it does is put the device on. By the way, if you want to know how much one of these is, 35,000 US dollars. Okay, so it's not cheap. So we've got this existing building, rather than it would take months to measure that. This thing, it actually scans it with a laser, gets all the exact locations, shape, colours, everything, and then from that it creates what's called a point cloud model. I'll show you in a minute what a point cloud looks like. That is a point cloud model. It's a survey of the building that's built from a million little dots. Okay? The size of these models are huge. They're like 100 gigabyte per model. So massive models. What they actually look like, I'll show you this, I just don't know. This is a viewer. By the way, there's a free viewer as well. This is the full one. There's a free viewer for point clouds. So just open up. Bear with me. Okay, I just want to open the same model I'm actually going to use. Bear with me, it just opens that up. There we go. So if I use the hallway, just zoom out, you can see what it is. It's a model built from like thousands and thousands of little dots. Look, like you can see it. That's inside the building. I can't zoom out anymore than that for some reason. Right. So how do we get that measurement data into Tekla? Okay. So if somebody gave you a point cloud, how could you utilise it? There are several things you can do, but within SketchUp, there's an extension which is free. You can extension which is called the Scan Explorer. I'll just delete this guy again. This keeps getting in the way. We'll say Scan Explorer. And then with this Scan Explorer, which sits on the top of SketchUp, you can say, look, I want to open up that same model. It's the same one. And then you get all these different views within it like this, look. All the different views within that object. You say, look, actually, look at the edges and take the edges into SketchUp so you can say, look, actually look at that, and I want to take the shell of that building, create, and it looks and finds the edges in the scan and creates the SketchUp model. The SketchUp model then you can take into Tekla. Yeah, so you can see it's finding the edges, look. There's other ways you can do this as well, but I can't say there's other things coming, but there might be in the future. You can see then what we've done is we've taken that, and it actually creates the shell then in SketchUp like so. So that's the real survey of the building, really done in a day's time, which would take weeks and weeks otherwise. And then you can take that data obviously into Tekla. So the SketchUp is owned by our parent company Trimble, hence why we have such a good link to the software. Okay? Would you mind holding that again? Thank you. Right, okay. Let's get back up to some other items then. So where are we? I won't talk too much about this. Oh yeah, the clash detection. Let me just turn off that reference object. So back here to reference models. Let's just turn that one off and turn that one off. Okay, so there we are back into here. Now the last time I did this I couldn't get the arrow. You can see there's a definite clash on that bulb, yeah? Right. And let me just put that one down. What we're going to do then is we're going to say, okay, select that item there. We're going to run a clash detection on this. Run it. It finds the clash, but what it does as well now, look, it puts that little box that shows that it's the bolt clashing on the piece, like so. So it can identify it much quicker. It came in, I think, version 20.1 actually. It's not that new, this. And if you click on that as well, you can get more information about that. So you can see which piece clashes against which. But it shows you there, look, it's a volume issue. So it's a visual problem. By the way, as well, if I zoom out, so let's say you're in a massive model, you don't know where that clashes. If you hold the Z key down, Z, double click on that, and it actually finds and zooms in on it. So if you've got several clashes, hold the Z key down, double click, it zooms and finds the clash, and shows you what the issue is. With me so far? Yep. Everyone? Okay? Yep. Am I speaking too quickly? A little? I always do. The other thing, direct modification. A lot of people never have ever even used direct modification. If I draw, let me delete that. If I draw a plate, so I'm going to draw a polygon plate, like so. Okay, simple plate. Now I want to change the size of that plate. If I click on that, nothing happens. Okay, it's just a plate. Double click, opens that up. If I do Control D and select that plate, I then get the edges, and then I can drag these to be another size. This is called direct modification. And it also gives you a centre point, so you can say, look, I want to put that centre point there. I want to put that centre point there. So you can actually drag this to be any shape that you wish, like so. If I cut a hole in that, so if I say, look, I'm going to cut a hole, I put the polygon, and then just put the free snap on. I'm going to cut that from there to there to there to there. There you are, I've got a cut. If you click on that as well, that also, any cuts are also, look, direct manipulation. So you can say, look, I actually want to bring that down there like that. Right?
But when we adjust that, we will move one in one direction, like I or in the...
Oh yeah, you can click on this and type in, do you know, I'm not actually that well versed, you can click on that as a reference and type in a distance, right. 500, oh yeah. So you can type it all in. It's just like with any object, it's just an object. So you can click in and type it all in. Do you know, I don't know how you do it, but you can do it. I've seen somebody do it, I don't know how you do it though. Okay, now, the thing is, all of the objects in Tekla are moving towards this direct manipulation. So with construction circles as well, these are construction circles. By the way, construction circles are now real circles. So no longer segments. So when you put construction circles in there, real circles, so you can snap to them with really high precision now. But even this construction, like you can see, you can actually, the circle, you can actually drag and make it bigger. Look. So you can easily adjust this, like so. Or you can pick it up and say, look, I want to move that point somewhere else, you can move it. Same with lines, you can pick up a construction line and say, I want to move that line to there, like that. I want to go to these concrete pads, and I want to click on that concrete pad, move it down to 700. I want to pick that up and move it out there. So every object you can do this with. So it's worth, everything in Tekla is moving in that direction. Okay, that's going to be polybeams and everything. Okay, so some nice things come in there. Also with custom parts, you can pick them up and move them to where you need to be, all that kind of stuff as well. So, okay. So that's direct modification. The clip planes I already showed you. Splitting polybeams. Actually, if you've got a polybeam now, let me just come out there. There's a couple of ways of doing that actually. Let me just delete some of this stuff. I've got too much rubbish on here. Delete that and delete that door and motor like so. Let me draw a polybeam. So you've got a polybeam now from end of there to end of there to there to the middle of there. Like that. You can use the split command now and say, look, I'm going to split that about the middle of there. So you can break that into two pieces. Okay? So, nice way of doing that as well. Easy enough thing to do. But there's something else as well to come with this as well. There's a new copy command. And I'm just going to go. I've already done some things on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this here. These objects. And I'm going to put a new beam in here. So I'm going to say, okay, look, I'm going to copy that beam. From there to there. I'm going to make it shorter. So I'll click on that. So look, drag that down to there. Using that new direct manipulation. And then I'm going to do Control D and turn that off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to say, okay, let me just find the opening. So I'm going to say I want an opening on this one here, about the middle of there, like that. I'll put in some stiffness. So let's say I want some multiple stiffness. That's that one. multiple stiffener, let's say nearest point of here, like that. I've got a stiffener there, and let me put some bolts on this. Now, I may have shown you this command last year, I can't remember, but there's a command which is called create surface view. Okay? I showed you it. It really allows you to work on any surface without setting up the coordinate system. So you can say, look, I want to work on, well, like I showed last year, if I go here, I want to work on the underside of that haunch. So you select the surface, you click on it, and it automatically creates a view looking directly on that haunch, and the coordinate system is set in one click. If you've never used that, please use it, it's fantastic. So if we go here, just find where I am. Here we are, like this. So I'm going to work on the top surface of this. I'm going to say I'm going to work on the top of that beam, like so. It goes in there. I'm going to put some bolts in there. So we'll say, okay, bolts in that piece. From there, and I'll just do the nearest point. Make sure that's turned off. There, got a bolt. Click on that. We'll say in the Y direction we've got, let's say, 60 centres. X direction we've got 5 at 500. Modify that, and then what I'll say is in the X, start that with 50 millimetres. I normally would move that today. I've just put some bolts in there like so. Right, the new command, I'm going to explode these as well. I've no need to run and explode it just to show you. Let's click on that as well, explode it. Let's say I want that same bolts, stiffness, everything on this beam here, even though it's a different length. So what you've got now is you've got a new command which is called copy all content to another object. You can click on that, so I want to copy everything from that and put it to that one. And it copies everything, including the bolts and everything. I can actually say, look, copy from there and put them. Then I thought, what happens if it's the wrong size? What happens then, you know? So if I click to here, it actually copies everything across, even though that's at the side. It copies it all across and puts it on the piece, like so. Oh, actually, the coordinate system is not set to world, is it? Right, we'll do that again. So we'll say edit, where are we? Copy to all content from that one to that one. There you are. You can see then everything's copied. Even though it's the wrong size, it still copies everything, which you can then adjust. Obviously, it doesn't automatically adjust it, I'm saying. So copy all allows to copy the content from one piece to another. Which brings me to another command, which this is actually one of my favourite commands. That it came out a couple of versions ago. But if we say, for example, this piece here, it's made from a beam. You can see that piece is a 1016305222. Okay. What happens? Let's say the engineer, the fabricator says, I can't buy that. We need to make it from plates. Okay. So what you can do then is you've got a command which is called plate beam converter. You run that, and it says what kind of prefix. I'll just run it first.